Palestinians are used to mourning their martyrs. This could be the first time they've grieved publicly for a Jew. Juliano Mer-Khamis was Israeli, the son of a Jew and a Palestinian Christian. He lived, and in April this year died, for the Palestinian cause. But it was a Palestinian who murdered the celebrated actor and director, an act that could signal the start of a deadly conflict over culture.
What sort of impact does this murder have on people who want to work in the theatre in Palestine? Are people scared?
I think most of them, yes. Most of the people are scared, and there is a good reason to be scared.
Juliano became famous as an actor in the 1980s, but he played almost as many roles in life as he did on stage and screen. His mother's family were well-known Zionists, while his father was an Arab intellectual and prominent communist. Once a paratrooper in the Israeli army, Juliano played Arabs and Jews with equal ease. He tackled everything from a seedy drug dealer to a sexy Bedouin.
You're not allowed to make camping here.
In the award-winning Palestinian film Salt of the Sea, he played an Israeli teacher.
Come, this is my students. I teach them history.
But Juliano's sympathies, and those of his Jewish mother, lay with the Palestinians. These are scenes from Anna's Children, an award-winning documentary Juliano directed and featured in. Anna was his mother, and the film told the story of her work with Palestinian children in the Jenin refugee camp. In 1989, Juliano helped her establish a theatre for the kids and taught them drama.
كنا نحسبه يهودي ياخذ منا معلومات يعني انه مثلا نوديها للاحتلال فكرناه جاسوس للاحتلال احنا بالضبط يعني بتحكي عني عنا فكرت ان انا جاسوس للاحتلال عن جد عن جد.
The theatre project was abandoned after Anna's death from cancer, but Juliano returned during the Second Intifada to find out what had happened to the children. Some of the fiercest fighting took place in Jenin, where the Israeli army flattened much of the refugee camp. Many of the former actors had become militants. Years after this boy appeared in Juliano's play, he was killed during a suicide attack inside Israel. Another was killed fighting the Israeli army during the Battle of Jenin. And this boy later became one of the leaders of the resistance. He too died a violent death. Now Juliano's become Jenin's latest martyr. His poster adorns the wall of the Freedom Theatre, which he started after the success of his documentary. He saw the theatre as an alternative to the armed struggle that claimed so many of his students' lives. And in March this year, he was brimming with optimism.
الجو والهواء من الثورة العربية اللي عمالها بتصير بليبيا في مصر في تونسيا فاتت في أبواب مسرح الحرية.
On the 3rd of April, Juliano was at another theatre in Ramallah for the opening night of a play he'd directed. He was excited and a little mischievous.
والأهم شيء الرسالة وصلت. رسالة وصلت. رسالة المسرحية. اسألني شو الرسالة؟
The following morning, Juliano was gunned down in Jenin as he drove home from the Freedom Theatre. Hearing gunshots, one of his students, Rabia Turkman, rushed outside.
A lot of blood down had Juliano.
Are we going to Ramallah?
And everybody, he shout, he has voice. I tell him, wait, Juliano, I think Juliano, he died because a lot of blood.
The killer was masked and disappeared into the narrow alleys of the refugee camp.
They killed him. We don't know if they are from the camp or if they are outside the camp.
2 weeks later, staff and students at the theatre are still being interviewed by a constant flow of foreign journalists.
I am also like in the shock because I feel that, okay, the killer is between us. Maybe this guy or that guy or that.
There had been threats to the Freedom Theatre before. In 2009, their production of George Orwell's Animal Farm sparked controversy, partly because of its veiled attack on the Palestinian Authority, but mostly because some conservative Muslims were offended by the actors dressing up as pigs and dogs.
At the time, they tried to burn down the theatre twice. And there was also some direct threats against certain people at the theatre, including Joel.
Juliano's widow, Jenny, pregnant with twins, fled to the Israeli city of Haifa on the day of his murder. Originally from Finland, Jenny also worked at the theatre.
We always tried to push the boundaries a little bit. Not too far, not to be obvious, but to, you know, always another step.
Did Juliano then have a very good sense of where the line was at any given point?
That's what we thought, at least.
Jenny says that after the backlash to Animal Farm, Juliano talked about the possibility of being killed.
It started at that time of the threats, you know, and then it became more of a joke.
After his murder, Israeli television broadcast footage of Juliano's grim prophecy.
I'm telling them about how I'm going to end my life. A bullet from a fucked up Palestinian who's going to be very angry that we are in Jenin with this blonde coming to corrupt the youth of the Islam, and he's gonna and she's gonna find me dead on the doorstep.
Juliano described the Freedom Theatre as part of a third intifada, or uprising, a cultural intifada. He taught his students that actors could be just as dangerous as militants.
One day he told me, if you want to be a star, just give me 1 month. I make you biggest star in the world, not just in Palestine. Just 1 month. But Rabia, I don't want you be a star. I want you be freedom fighter with art. Art revolution.
Rabia Turkman, who starred in several of Juliano's productions, knows a lot about revolution.
Batoul Talib كثير منيح وسام. You know that Rabia Turkman, he was a freedom fighter. And he decided to put down the weapons and take up stage.
How different would your life be now if you didn't join the theatre?
Maybe now I'm in prison. Maybe I'm dying. Maybe in prison, maybe in the guard.
So the theatre has saved your life?
Yeah.
In the Freedom Theatre's last production, Alice in Wonderland, Batoul Talib played Alice. At first, her parents had tried to stop her from acting. Many in Jenin still disapprove of a young woman on stage.
It's like, oh, you're going to the Freedom Theatre. What are you going to do there? Oh, here come the theatre girl. And, you know, I was the first girl in the acting school. It was very, like, pressure.
Jenin is a conservative place, and a scene like this can shock people here. Batoul says, bring it on.
We're not here to make people just love us. We want to make people, like, you know, to
provoke?
Yeah, for them to express themselves.
Yes! Would any of you have considered dressing up as a pig in front of your neighbours before you met Juliano?
No, I didn't think like this before, but you know, Juliano was also part of our dream. Like, I came here with a small dream, like, I want to be on stage. It was simple. It was nothing to do with revolution, nothing to do with the occupation. Like, it was just a dream, small dream. And when I came here, I found that it's not just about being a star. Now I don't want to be a star. I want to be a freedom fighter.
I want to break free.
After Animal Farm, the controversy around the theatre seemed to fade away. There were no more attacks or threats. Almost 10,000 people went to see Alice in Wonderland, but in its own way, this children's story was no less subversive. The Palestinian Alice visits Wonderland after rejecting an arranged marriage.
رسالة مساواة بين الامرأة والزلمة، رسالة تحرر الفتاة الفلسطينية من عقود اجتماعية وكبت اجتماعي.
Do you think, looking back, that maybe it wasn't a wise thing to do? If it comes at such a cost, if it maybe even costs you the theatre?
You know, like, I would do Alice even if I knew that would happen.
Jenin remains a dangerous place for actors. There are 2 flyers circulating here now, written by militant groups no one's ever heard of. One group calls itself Your Religion's Zealous Sons, the other Free People of this Earth. One flyer says,
"We call upon the parents in the refugee camp not to send their sons and daughters to this suspicious theatre, whose only goal is to spread corruption and Western culture."
Are you hopeful that they will find the killer?
Not very.
Really?
He was killed in the middle of Jenin refugee camp in broad daylight. It's impossible nobody saw the killer. It's impossible nobody knows who it is.
For now, the theatre is closed, although many students still turn up. Some have parents who wish they'd stay away.
Your mother's very worried about you coming here.
Yeah, she's not just worried, she doesn't want me to come here. Like, she feels like that the one who killed Jewel, he will everyone has a relationship with Jul and to the theater. I wish that I can die like Jul died, really.
What do you mean?
Yeah, he didn't die for nothing. Like, he was a fighter, he was an artist, and I don't want to die like in car accident or something. I want to die like him. Really, I'm thinking of this all the time. If I have to die, I want to die like this, I'm sure. Like,